Okay, so this will be the presentation 3 submission video showing off the progress that has been made on the website. Um, it's pretty simple to go over. A lot of it's like GUI user interface, so it's pretty easy to understand. I shouldn't have to show off like any code or anything. So to start off with, I want to acknowledge that I did recently, for presentation 2, I made a video as well, obviously, and the link here the link is here, but the reason that I bring up this video is because I already showed off like a lot of stuff that I don't really want to rehash, like creating a new account. This all works, like it goes through, it validates, it creates a new entry, you can log in with it, yada yada yada. You can watch the video to verify if you
It
don't believe
asks
me.
you to.
And the other reason that I bring up this video is because I want to show off like how different the dashboard looks now. So this is the old employee management tab, and as you can see, even though I think the styling looks all right. We got rounded edges, we got nice looking buttons. The text isn't so nice, but it's just forms. And what I noticed as an issue was it is not very convenient. Who would have thought as a user of this dashboard to manually have to go into the PHP MyAdmin, find the user that you're trying to talk about, get their ID, and then type it into the user ID field in the form here. And I figured this is not a great solution. We can definitely do better. So that's why I brought it up. You can also view this is like the old project management form, and as you can see, we have the core fundamentals. This was before we got into Ajax, so this listing of like items in the project is just done with like a for each statement using PHP, and then obviously this is just a form for adding something new. So there's that, and then the rest of this is just showing off code. Okay, so now if we go to the website, you'll notice if I try to immediately access the admin dashboard just by typing it in myself and accessing the link, you'll see that it immediately redirects me back to the login page. And this is because I added like security features and code checking to make sure that the user is actually logged in. So it shouldn't be possible anymore for someone to just type in the manual like file directory and then hop down the tree and to access information that way without being logged in. So to start off with, we're just going to go to the admin dashboard, or sorry, the admin login. So this is the admin login page. I'll just type in my login information here, real quick and simple. Just type this in. Okay, so we're logged in. As you can see, we're actually in the admin dashboard, and we have a logged in session. It does store it in the cookie here. You see, there's one cookie. It's saved. Yep. Okay, you get that. And then, so if we want to start here in the clients, you'll see the clients page is now a lot cleaner. It is no longer just a list of forms where you have to manually go through and type in the user ID. So when you want to create a new client, not a lot, but a decent amount happens in the background where you type in the first name, last name, the email, and the password of the new client that you're creating. But it also, without you looking, having to do anything, will create an entry into the users table. So the way that I have set up my database is there's like a set of users, and the users are just the general blanket. So the users are just anyone that is a part of this. So like the admins reference it, the clients reference it. So you see, if you click the clients, it's just a reference to the user ID, and then it takes you back to that user. So the users automatically gets added, and I can show you this happening. If I want to create a new person, we'll just call him like John Smith, and then example at example.com, and then we'll just make his password very simple, very unsafe, and we'll add the client. So now you can see in our Ajax form, we didn't actually have to like reload the entire page, and it gives us a success message saying that the client was successfully added, and before I would have to like either refresh the page, which is kind of annoying, or I'd have to like click here and then click back, and then it would like refresh, which is not good. So now when you add it, it actually does show, what you're expecting. So that works. The edit page, this is very simple. I don't want to really waste my time there. But the View More tab is really worth showing, I think. So you get a list of the different, or not a list, but a set of different sections. So there's like the client overview. Right now, it just shows them the name and then the email, and then the client statistics. So just like the number of projects and websites that they have with us, and then the projects and the websites. And you can see there's no data in the table. That's because the user doesn't have any websites or projects associated with them. Um, which makes sense. I didn't add anything yet. It's a new user I just added. You can also add like number of entries. Since there's no entries, this doesn't actually change anything, but that's there. And if you look down here, these previous and next button with like the pages, typically, so like if we look at the employees, which by the way, we can let me show the old video for like comparison. Like this is the old project management tab, and then like this is the new. We have like a nice table and all that. But if you look at the employees, there's actually this button down here, and these buttons are auto-generated along with the table to navigate through different pages. So if I had, say, showing 10 entries per page, let's say I had 20 entries, then there would be like another button would appear that says 2, and I could click through the pages and go previous and next. I left this here so I could show you guys what I was talking about, but I have this code set up for all the rest of my tables, or like, tables, to hide it if there are X amount of, or if there's less than X amount of entries in the table, just like keep it less cluttered. So that's pretty cool. You can like view the projects and the websites, and then I also have like a quick update, like edit client info thing. This is exactly pretty much how the edit client button word like works, and except for the fact that it's just like here, real nice. It's just, or you quickly want to change something, you have that option. So next I'll show off the projects, or I guess I could like delete something. We'll delete the user, and then so deleting works, but what's nice is it shows this little pop-up and it says, are you sure you want to delete this client? And then if you press OK, then it'll go through and delete them. And then you also get, you get your success messages and stuff like that up here. So if I wanted to create a new, let's just create another entry real quick. And if you remember, we had a section in the View More tab for the clients of showing the websites and projects that were associated with them. The reason that I have it set up like this is because this website is supposed to be for a website development like company, like builds websites for different companies. And the way that I saw it, a layout that would make sense would be people can have multiple websites that fit under one project. So if a client approached me and said, hey, I need a X website and I also need another website that does this to go along with it, which is pretty common, someone would say, well, how do we know like these projects, like how these websites like correspond with each other? So that's how I came up with the idea for having projects as well, and the projects have their own ID, and then when you go to like select to create a new website, you're actually able to like select the different projects. So let's show off the new projects, add new project thing here. You'll notice that like the person I just created drops down here. So that was one of the things that I mentioned, saying like, why would I want to type in manually the user ID and then go find it myself when I could just have the computer grab my options and then we could just show them here. So that's how that works, and then you can just like select the client from here, and then we need to give it a example. So we'll just say example project. So this is going to be the name of the project, and then a description, just like describing this, and then so we're going to select the start date, which is today, and we'll just say the end date is tomorrow or next month. And we have two statuses. You can start off by saying, I gave myself the option to say like it's completed because I figured maybe I already have a project finished, or I finished a project and I forgot to like add it into the database, and I just want to immediately say that it's completed and just have it on record. You can do that. This is now filled out. This would be a valid submission. So if we press add project, it doesn't refresh the whole page. This is using Ajax. So before, what would happen is I would have to either refresh the page, or I'd have to click here and then click back and to update the lists of items to see the new thing that I just added to the database, which is annoying. So that's been fixed. You are able to delete here. It does all those similar things. But if we go back to the clients, you can actually see that the project has been added, and now the tab has shown up, and all that. It's doing what it's supposed to. and that works pretty great. So if I wanted to create a new website, well, let's create two websites for John Smith, and let's say it's a part of the example project, and we'll say the first website URL is www, and then we'll give him the website login email. We'll just say is like example at example, or just example. Now, something that I'll mention later, but this particular login email form doesn't actually check if the email is a valid email. And the reason that I decided to go through with that decision was because I decided that some website logins may not be emails. I've come across different websites or website builders or things like that where you don't log in with an email, you log in with like a username or something. So I figured I'd just give myself the flexibility. And then the password can be obviously anything that you want. So we'll just say it's password. And then we can add it. So, or sorry, it does actually check. I thought it didn't. All right, well, there you go. It has more functionality than I said it did. That's probably a good thing. So it actually forces you to type in an email. So example at example, you can add it, and then now you can see this. These are just like some developer things that I have pulled up. But this all works. So you can see like all the info here. And I did actually decide to display the password on this table because I figured that you don't want to save the user passwords and show those, but you are going to need the website login info to log into the website, so you need to show all that. So I decided to go through and show the login info. The edit and delete things, they all do what you'd expect. So there's that. And then if we go back to the clients and we view John Smith, you can actually see now that the projects and the websites are listed here. And that's pretty cool. We can have multiple websites within that project, so we can create another website, and we can say this is also example at example.com. And or I think it's going to try to. No, let's see if it works. Yep, there you go. Okay, so now we have two websites that look exactly the same. They're part of the same project, but they have different IDs, so that's how you differentiate them. And then if you look here, you can see that we have the website, and that looks, yeah, that looks all good. I think I might have accidentally added that website to me. Yep, I did. That's why it's not showing up. So when I added the second website, I had it selected on myself instead of John. That's why it's not showing up. But if I had selected John, then it would be a second entry here. That's pretty standard. So now if we go to the employee overview, the employee overview is pretty cool. You can actually add like people into your database. Just the team. And let's say like I put let's make his name Chris. Chris, and his email will be chris@chris.com, and the password will of course be Chris, and also here. Now this email form actually does have the same like logic checking to make sure you submitted a real email and it's not some bogus. And then we give him a salary, so we can press add employee. Okay, so now we've added an employee into the database, and that's great. But that doesn't do a whole lot for him. But what we can do now is, now that he's here, if you look, since he's the only employee, this is the only items that's listed out. But you can add new admins and then give them permissions, and you can use the login info that you just created with the employee to log into the admin dashboard. So if I press add admin, you'll see now I have the entry in the admin overview done, and if I go to this web page again, but this time I'm going to say the admin login, and then this time we're going to log in with Chris's credentials. So we say chris@chris.com, and then his password is Chris. You'll see I'm actually able to log in with that info. So that works. And something that I noticed that was pretty annoying when I was originally like building all this is I would delete something, but then the entry in another table, so like let's say that I deleted the employee here, but the admin entry would still be here, and this is no good because if I'm trying to delete an employee out of my database, I also want his admin credentials to be deleted. So what I did is I actually added logic that goes through and deletes all the associated other items that are like tied to this. So if I delete Chris here, you'll see it actually also deletes him from the admin overview. So that's all nice and good. If we go to billing and invoice, this is pretty cool. So what you're able to do is you're able to select the project and then the invoice date, the amount of the invoice. But what was pretty cool is now I added functionality. You can actually like choose a file and then upload a file that way and then submit the invoice. Now you'll see that I actually already have an entry here, and this is because I was testing it. But I did actually find an issue with this. This has to do with the permissions of the website server that we're using to build these. So Corsair, for some reason, doesn't like people adding and removing files that aren't logged in with the credentials that we have to use with our IU logins. So you can actually, all the code is here. You can verify it. If I go to the billing section, you can actually see it actually has the places to add the invoice to the invoice directory and upload it. And then when the way that it works is when the invoice is uploaded, if you go to the invoice tab, it just saves the file path. So instead of like saving a file somehow inside of this database, which doesn't make sense, you just save to where it's been saved, and then you can pull it up via that. So the problem that this causes is I'm not actually able to download it because the server won't allow me. But if I press download, you'll see it actually does create like a download, and it's a PDF list, and then you can press save, and then it does all that, and then you can delete it. So that's pretty cool. You can see. Or did that work? Shouldn't have worked. Well, anyway, you can see like when I press download, it like creates a download list, and then when you save it, it actually creates all that. So all the logic's there. That works. That's pretty cool. And yeah, you're able to view it here, the invoice ID and then the project ID and the client ID, and these all tie back to the clients, and then their respective IDs. And yeah, that's pretty cool. The logout obviously still works, and then you can go back to the home and portfolio. So yeah, thank you. I think that's basically what I wanted to show with me using my dashboard. The workflow is pretty simple, and it's still, obviously she's a coming, but I'd say it's going pretty good. So thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.